Hi, and welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, our special guest is Dr. Daniel Amen, the author of the new book, Feel Better Fast and Make It Last. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Amen.
Lori, what a joy.
So this book is a great resource for people who are struggling with emotional issues like anxiety and depression and fear, and who seek quick fixes and end up having problems because of that.
The book is really about those things that people do that help themselves feel better now, but not later, versus now and later. So what does the science tell us? That things like alcohol feel better quickly, but miserable tomorrow, and it increases the risk of 7 different cancers. So feel better now, but not later. Marijuana, chocolate cake, ice cream. Digital addictions, so common. Things like pornography, looking at things you shouldn't look at, even the negative news. It's almost, and they do it purposefully. They do it to hook you because the brain pays attention to scary things way before it pays attention to happy things. And so scary movies are also there, or driving fast, or engaging in high-risk sports, or high-risk relationships. And I'm like, let's be more thoughtful. What does the research tell us about what we can do to feel better now and later? So what are the foods? What are the daily habits that I can do? How can I use my brain? And one of my favorite techniques, I call it the ultimate brain-based therapy, is use something at once to stimulate all 5 of your senses for happiness. So what does the research teach us about vision? And vision is so important because 30% of your brain is dedicated to vision, right? The whole cosmetic industry is based on that. And so images of nature, or on my phone, I have my favorite images that trigger happiness. So for me, it's my children, my grandchildren, my white German Shepherd, my wife, all at once. And then hearing. What are the sounds that make you feel better fast? So the sound of the ocean helps people feel better fast. What are the scents that can help you feel better fast? And lavender has been shown to decrease anxiety and depression. Well, that's sort of simple. Or rose or honeysuckle. What are the tastes? And it turns out chocolate's there, as well as
told you that.
as well as cinnamon can actually help you focus and give you energy. What about touch? Getting a massage, holding the hand of someone who's happy, right? There's actually an interesting study that if you hold the hand of someone you care about, your brain waves begin to sync. So you want to be very careful with whose hand you hold, right? Because if their brain's haywire, yours likely to feel that way as well. Also, warming your hands has an immediate relaxation response. There's this great study where they gave people, and they didn't know they were testing this, something cold to drink or something warm to drink. And when the people had something warm, they were actually more loving. They were more giving. Isn't that interesting? So you can use each of your senses to flood your brain with happiness, even a sauna. So if you've had a bad day and you're really negative, just hop into a sauna, because there's a study published in a psychiatric journal that one sauna was found to actually treat depression.
This is great information that we all need to know about. Helps us all in our daily lives. We're going to take a quick break and be back with Dr. Daniel Amen right after this. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Welcome back, and we're continuing our conversation with Dr. Daniel Amen, the author of the new book, Feel Better Fast and Make It Last. And you have a really catchy acronym to help us do this. Talk about that.
Right, it's called Brain Excel. We've been talking about the B part, which is the brain, the physical functioning of your brain. Nobody cares about their brain because you can't see it. You can see the wrinkles in your skin or the fat around your belly, and you can do something when you're unhappy. Well, here at Amen Clinics, we look at people's brains. We have a database of 150,000 scans on people from 120 countries. And when I started looking at the brain, I'm like, oh, we can make it better or we can make it worse. And I looked at my brain and I was horrified because I played football in high school and I had meningitis as a young soldier. And I had a lot of bad habits. You know, I only got 4 hours of sleep at night because I thought I was special. Now I realized I was stupid. I was eating fast food like it was going out of style. I was chronically stressed, and I didn't care. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist. I'm board certified in general psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry. I'm a physician. I didn't care one bit about my own brain. But when I saw it, I'm like, ouch, this can be better. And so I've dedicated my life to make my brain better. So that's the B part. The R part is your rational mind. It's so important. We should be teaching second graders not to believe every stupid thing they think. I call them ants, automatic negative thoughts, the thoughts that come into your mind automatically and ruin your day. And you need an anteater in your head. And so in the book, this is the tiny habit. There's a lot of tiny habits in the book. What's the smallest thing I can do today that will make the biggest difference in how I feel? Whenever you feel sad or mad or nervous or out of control, just journal what you're thinking and ask yourself, is it true? Can I absolutely know if it's true? Like, I'm the worst doctor in the world, or you're the worst journalist in the world if you're having a bad day. You go, is that true? Go, no, there are a whole bunch of doctors worse than me. And just cracking the thought, it doesn't have to torture you. But if you don't question your thoughts, you believe them 100%, and then you act as if they're true, and then you may need to medicate that lie that's torturing you. In the rational mind, there's all these tiny habits, like start every day with today is going to be a great day, because then you set your mind up to find out what's right rather than what's wrong. At the end of every day, write down what went well today. It's a great exercise with kids. Start breakfast with today is going to be a great day, end every day when you say your prayers, and then go, so what went well today? Just to get their mind focused on what they love about their life rather than what they hate about their life. The A is attachments. What makes us happy is our connections. What makes us unhappy is our disconnections. And so from my 40 years of being a psychiatrist, what are the things I know about relationships that can help people? The first thing is you have to take responsibility. If I know with my wife, I can make the relationship better today by how I act, and I know within 30 seconds I can get her to yell at me. But I choose not to, right? Because my goal is really clear. And so I help people get clear. What's your goals in the relationship, and does your behavior match? I also teach them about active listening, so important, assertiveness, and forgiveness. It's one of the most important things you can do. I call it grace and forgiveness. The I in Feel Better Fast, in the Brain Excel mnemonic, is inspiration. How do you protect your pleasure centers? Because you want to feel better fast, be inspired. But nobody knows how to be inspired. And so in the book, I actually give people a very specific formula on how to get in touch with their deepest sense of meaning and purpose in life. The N is nutrition, food is medicine, or food's poison. It's a brand new study out. If you change your diet, add more colorful fruits and vegetables, and get rid of sugar and foods that quickly turn to sugar and processed foods, it's been found to be an effective treatment for depression. It's like, yes, you can go for the antidepressants. They have all these side effects, or you can go with food. And so I actually teach you how to feel better fast by the food you consume. And it's always delicious, because if it's not delicious, no one will eat it. And the tiny habit is dark chocolate, so really low in sugar, has been found to boost blood flow to the brain. It boosts a chemical called phenylethylamines, which it stimulates your brainstem and alerts you that something fun is about to happen. Now, don't have the whole box. That'd be very bad for you. The X part in Brain XL is the X factor. It's what we've learned here at Amen Clinics from the brain imaging work that we've done. Mild traumatic brain injury is a major cause of psychiatric illness, and nobody knows about it. Do not let your children hit soccer balls with their head. Do not let them play football, because it damages your brain. And, I don't know how else to say it. Brain is soft, skull is hard. Skull has sharp, bony ridges. Damage your brain, you damage your life. And there's a lot of very sort of wonderful, inspirational stories about the imaging work we do. And then the L is love. Is you do the right thing, not because you should. It's because you love yourself and you love the people in your life. And too often people, when they go, oh, I don't want to get healthy because I don't want to give up alcohol, or I don't want to give up caffeine, or I don't want to give up Rocky Road ice cream. I don't want, and they're focused on the wrong things. It's like, what do you want? I want energy. I want focus. I want memory. I want longevity, because I love my life. I love my wife. I love my children, my grandchildren. I love the mission God has given me. That is so much more important than the rocky road that I don't miss anymore. And when I first got healthy, because I saw my own brain wasn't healthy, I had that mourning for those things. And now I literally see them as the enemy. And I'm like, no, you don't serve my health. You steal from my health. And we're in a war in our society. And I'm not kidding when I say this. It's going to sound funny, but I'm not kidding. ISIS has nothing on our food industry, right? The real weapons of mass destruction are highly processed, pesticide sprayed, high glycemic. That means it raises your blood sugar, low fiber, food-like substances stored in plastic containers. Everywhere you go, someone's trying to shove bad food down your throat that will kill you early. I'm not okay with that. You need to be armed and prepared to be healthy. So if we look at tiny habits, what are the smallest things you can do today that'll make the biggest difference? Brain is the most important. So the tiny habit is whatever you do, this takes 3 seconds. Is this good for my brain or bad for it? So whenever you're coming to a choice in your day, to wear your seatbelt or not, is this good for my brain or bad for it? Wear your seatbelt. If it's Friday and you're going to happy hour, is this good for my brain or bad for it? If you want to stay up late to watch cable news and you want to be in the fight, is this good for my brain or bad for it? And sleep is so important, right? You should be targeting at least 7 hours of sleep at night. When you have a bad day, it's often because you didn't sleep right. Whenever it comes to, do you want to see the dessert menu? Is this good for my brain or bad for it?
Mm-hmm. Wow. This is so interesting and really applies to all of us. We'll have more with Dr. Daniel Amen right after this. Stay with us. This goes on and on. This is a natural way. Talk about self-discipline and impulse control.
Well, impulse control happens when we've not had 7 hours of sleep, when we've gone too long without eating. So when your blood sugar goes low, blood flow to the brain goes low, and you're more likely to make bad decisions. And so eating, breakfast is important. And I want people to have protein and healthy fat at every meal because it helps to stabilize their blood sugar. So when I said high glycemic foods, those are foods that quickly turn to sugar. So sugar, bread, pasta, potatoes, rice. What they do is they spike blood sugar, and then your pancreas sees it, produces insulin, and it lowers it. And so you end up being hungry if you eat those foods. So I recommend limiting those, more protein, healthy fat, colorful fruits and vegetables.
Talk a little bit about supplements. Are they worth it?
So I'm a huge fan of supplements. I actually, I own a supplement company because when I first started looking at the brain, so I'm a classically trained psychiatrist. I was taught to use medication and psychotherapy to treat mental illness. And when I started looking at the brain, I'm like, some of my medications are toxic to brain function. I'm like, I remember when I was at Oral Roberts University, that's where I went to medical school, our professors used to always drill a couple of things into our head. First, do no harm. Use the least toxic, most effective treatments. So when I saw on scans some of the medications were not really making your brain better, I'm like, well, what are natural ways? What are things that are least toxic? So I'm a huge fan. I think everybody should be taking omega-3 fatty acids every day. We have a crisis in this country of low levels of omega-3. Why should you care? Well, 25% of your brain is actually made up with omega-3 fatty acids. So if you're low, you're not thinking right. I think all of us should take a multiple vitamin. Why? 90% of us do not have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, the minimum required to get the nutrition that you need. So even though my diet's great, I take a multiple vitamin every day because I think of it just as insurance. Everybody should have their vitamin D level measured. And if it's low, and it is in 80% of the population, you should supplement with vitamin D3. There's one study that said people who are over 40. So the healthy range is 30 to 100. People who are over 40 have half the risk of cancer of people who are under 20. And when I first learned about it, and I tested my level, and I live in Southern California where the sun is out 330 days a year, my level was 17. I mean, I was just horrified. And what's interesting, when I started taking more vitamin D, my appetite went away. So I had been having trouble losing about 30 extra pounds that I gained from being lazy and building a business and going to medical school and all of that. And I tried every diet, but I was always hungry. And we found when vitamin D is low, the hormone leptin that tells your brain to stop eating doesn't work. You actually become leptin resistant. And so that simple, tiny habit of taking vitamin D every day knocked off my appetite. And then I ended up losing weight and getting healthy. I mean, and I'm totally vain. I totally get it. I want to be in the same size jeans I was in when I was 18. I like that because I have obesity in my family. And I'm one of 7 children. And 2 of my siblings are obese. And I'm not. Why? I don't give in to the behaviors making it likely to be so. And I published 2 studies in medical journals that show as your weight goes up, the actual physical size and function of your brain goes down, which should scare the fat off anyone. So when I think of, oh, you know, I want the chocolate cake or I want the Rocky Road ice cream, I'm like, I don't want what goes with it. And so we want people to think beyond their 4-year-old self. You know, I want what I want when I want it, right? You're having an internal temper tantrum when you do the wrong thing. But what are good parents? 2 words. They're firm and they're kind. It's like, this is not going to help you. Let's go do something that'll make you feel better now and later.
This is great information that we all need to know about. Helps us all in our daily lives. We're going to take a quick break and be back with Dr. Daniel Amen right after this. So this message that you're talking about in the new book is, what supplements should people be taking to help their brains?
Actually, online, we have a test that people can take, a brain health assessment to know what type of brain they have. Based on our imaging work, there are 16 different brain types. So if they go to brainhealthassessment.com, they can know what their type is. So for example, if you're a type 2, short attention span, distractible, not very organized, you tend to be late. I like things that help really increase your focus and energy. Supplements like rhodiola or ashwagandha or ginseng, they're more stimulating. If you're a type 3, worried, rigid, if things don't go your way, you get upset, you tend to hold on to herbs. Supplements that boost serotonin, like 5-HTP, or my favorite, or one of my favorite, is saffron. So the spice saffron has actually got about 20 studies showing that it boosts serotonin and it helps your mood. Actually, head-to-head against antidepressants. In some studies, it's been shown to be equally effective. But saffron, as opposed to knocks off your sexual desire, it actually can enhance it. It actually helps memory, helps PMS, so I'm sort of a fan. If you tend to be our type 5, which is you're anxious, GABA can be really helpful. So it's like know your type, and then the supplements are really directed at what you need. It's just for general brain health, I also love ginkgo. So ginkgo is one of my favorite ones because there's actually published imaging studies showing that ginkgo improves blood flow.
Tell us about the supplements you developed.
We created this supplement company for our patients, and so it's the highest quality we could find in a plant that actually makes pharmaceutical medication. And BrainMD Health is the name, and they can learn about it. The line is called BrainMD, and we have multiple vitamin called Neurovite Plus, the highest quality omega-3 fatty acids. In fact, if you take 2 of ours and you go to one of the big box stores, you probably have to take 6 of theirs to get the same concentration. And we have things to support mood and energy and focus and anxiety.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but this book is fantastic. It's called Feel Better Fast and Make It Last. So Dr. Daniel Amen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Lori.